Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome back to Surreal Sundays. I'm your host, Old School Exit 9. And tonight we're going to get into a topic of paternity fraud. So we have several videos set up for you. We're going to go into, how different variations of paternity fraud, from a man being cleared by DNA after being caught up in the system with child support. Another about going into how um, positive pregnancy tests were sold on Craigslist. Um, and, we're just going to go into different variations of parenting fraud to help educate um, the men out here. If you don't know, you will know after this episode on the different variations of paternity fraud and how you can get caught up in this system. So that snatch shenanigans, whiskey of the week, and that hot video, all that coming to you. Um, and without further ado, let's get it. Let's go.
You are now listening to some old school shit.
Man, that intro just fires me up, man. I don't know about you or what have you, but that intro gets me real excited, man. So um it just gets me going. Hey, so um we didn't broadcast last Sunday. We figured everybody was out enjoying they family and getting that last summer holiday in before school starts for the kids, and getting ready to get into that grind for the rest of the year. So we decided not to broadcast last week, but we back this week with paternity fraud. So without further ado, let's get it.
Kelly, thank you. One man's life going through some unnecessary legal drama. This after receiving a letter that he had fathered a child with a woman he'd never even met. Now, vindication of sorts. It's a follow-up to a story I brought you earlier this year on his legal fight and what comes next.
She don't know me. How do you just put my name down? How do you just put anybody's name down? I don't know her, never seen her. Still to this day, haven't talked to her. And it just proved out that the baby has no ties to my name. Thankfully, the lady did bring the child in to get tested. And that's all I needed to happen.
This letter from friend of the court reads in part, Dear Mr. Smith, enclosed is a copy of the genetic test results, excluding you as the father.
Let's just set the record. I trust my husband because I know his character, man of integrity.
I would like to say relief, but it's kind of like confirmation, really, because I already knew that I had no ties and no links to this child or this woman. And to have that letter come to my house, it was a little unnerving, but not from the standpoint of being caught up in something. It was a little unnerving that, a letter like this could come to my house having no legitimacy to it.
We first brought you the story of D'Angelo Smith in late January when he presented some wild allegations against a friend of the court in Berrien County. The initial letter sent to his home stated a woman who we are not naming alleging him to be the father of her daughter, a child between the age of 1 and 2 years old.
She's a stripper from Detroit. We had a one-night stand at some hotel that we supposed to have been and went to. And this is a story that was told to me.
While playing the waiting game for the alleged mother to bring in the baby for a DNA sample, the school where D'Angelo Smith teaches received an inquiry for possible garnishment if things did not go in his favor.
Where it made it not something that was being alleged, now it's something that's being taken into action, and there's no paternity been established.
But clearly, these test results confirm that to no longer be the case.
With that being said, strong marriage or not, clean past or not, that's a very tough letter for anyone to receive.
Absolutely.
Without any proof.
Absolutely. It is. It is. The main things that they have to provide to the state of Michigan is a name and a birth date and where they live. That's easy information for someone to gather off of Google, off of Facebook, off of any kind of social media platform.
People who have checkered past, who have done things in the past, who have, stepped out and did things that was unbecoming of a real man, right? And so, but they've changed and they've cleaned up their act and they've gotten better, which all of us have the opportunity of doing or getting better. But a letter like this coming to that house, a man that has changed his ways, that has walked in a different direction, this letter could be absolutely devastating because of what you've done before.
We made several calls to lawmakers in Lansing who are familiar with this particular topic to get some answers.
It's very unfortunate, but paternity fraud is not a unique, unusual situation in Michigan.
Senator Jim Runstead tells me he's been pushing for new legislation on the matter during the past 8 years, saying right now, there's no penalty for lying.
Senator, what was the opposition for not passing this kind of legislation?
Well, maybe it would hinder mothers who don't want to name a particular guy or they made a mistake, but you had to knowingly name the wrong person. It becomes emotional stuff.
Respectfully, to me.
Now, that particular representative or senator said it becomes emotional stuff. I need you to understand that what he just said. The reasoning why this particular piece of legislation is not going through Michigan like it's supposed to is because they're coming up with emotional reasoning. That's what he meant by emotional stuff. They're not coming up with anything factual, anything with substance. It's I feel and I believe and I it's emotional, subjective reasoning on why they're not pushing through a law to punish these snatchers out here knowingly giving false information to get somebody hooked up on child support. And it was brought out in this video. You're not even hooking this dude up for child support. This man may be in a marriage. You're destroying his family. This dude's straight up and down. Okay, and then they brought up the point, what if this dude did mess up in his marriage before? The wife already on eggshells and shit, waiting for the next situation to pop up. And then this comes in the mailbox. This dude don't have a chance, it don't have a snowball chance in hell to convince his wife with his checkered past that this is untrue. She's out the door before he's able to put anything, any processes in place to clear his name. By the time he clears his name, the divorce done already happened. For those who have a checkered past or who has a spouse who's not, who based on their own insecurities. Because the man don't even, he let's say he doesn't have a checkered past, but the wife just has insecurities based on previous experiences or what have you, you know, whatever. And this comes through the mailbox. She out. You destroying lives. You destroying families on your lie. And Michigan do not have something in place to deter that. As of right now, Michigan is a woman's state. Woman can do whatever the fuck she wants. I shared a story with you guys before with my oldest son. How when he was 6 years old, I had something come through the mail where I had to pay back his birth. So then when I was talking with Wayne County friend of the court at that time, I learned that if the mother was to come down and put me on child support, she could, because I had nothing in place to say that he was with me. Now the mother and I stopped dealing with each other when he was 6 months old. But the child been underneath my address from age 0. So from age 0 to age 6, this woman can go down there and say, I want child support, that's the daddy, and she gets it. And then I got to spend money to fight that. Okay. So then I get a little, after I learn, because I'm young, you know, at the time, you know, I don't know what's up. I cop a lawyer. Everything's done according to procedure. On the day of court, the mother do not show up. Don't you know I still got joint physical custody? They don't have no problem giving you legal custody. That's bullshit. The physical custody is where the game is played. Don't you know I still got joint custody after being the sole parent for 6 years? She didn't even have to show up for court. Proof of service and everything. And still got joint physical. Ain't been there in 6 years. Ain't show up for court and still got joint. I'm telling you, the game is effed up. The game effed up for us men. Paternity fraud. I'm gonna go into my version of paternity fraud when we go into the next clip after we get done with this Fox 2 Detroit video. They're like, damn, X and 9, you got Every time you show every time you show a topic, you gotta experience it. Well, unfortunately, I haven't had my life ain't been a bed of roses. And this is pertaining to my first son as well, what the mother did. But we're gonna get into that when we get into the next video. Let's finish this out. So let's get it.
Mandate that DNA testing for the child is conducted first before a letter is sent to someone's home alleging they may be the father of a child regarding a woman whom they have never met. Doesn't that seem like common sense type of legislation?
I tell you, Joshua, the common sense goes out the window. I'd be more than happy to put that bill in. I'm telling you, it wouldn't even get a hearing in committee. I'll guarantee it wouldn't even get a hearing in committee. I ran across this before.
And the only reason I believe that this woman came in was because of Fox 2. Fox 2 provided a platform where the word got out, and this word spread it like wildfire quickly to the point where the lady came in.
This just popped into my head on why things are the way they are. Because you have what is called lobbyists. It is some organization, some business putting major dollars into having it how it is. Somebody is getting their mansion, their kids' education, their cars paid for pushing this BS. Bottom line. That's off of the whim thought. It just dawned on me. It's got to be that. Why else would you have such an imbalanced system in the family court? It's obvious to everybody. And yet nothing is being done on the legislative side, on the judicial side, on the executive side, the three branches of government. Nothing is it's not being talked about. It's not being pushed. Like there's talk and there's energy about falling back on mandates or minimum sentencing for certain drug offenses. Nothing is being done on the family court side in regards to this inequality. Period. Nothing. And everybody see it. It's being talked about, everything. Nothing's being done. Somebody is pushing some major dollars into some congressmen, some representatives' pockets to keep this going. Somebody's benefiting off of this. It's like the school to prison pipeline. Somebody is benefiting off of this big time. That's the only thing that keeps shit going. If pockets are getting lined, let's go ahead and finish out this video. Let's get it.
Men. Now I asked the courts about the friend of the courts about bringing her in. They said, well, we just have to wait until she comes in. But I thank God that Fox 2 provided a platform where the lady was able to come in, but everybody does not have that opportunity for Fox 2 to show up at their doorstep to help them out.
A lot to wrap your head around, guys. Real quick, as we did in our initial story, we called friend of the court for a comment, but have not heard back. In the meantime, Senator Jim Rusted tells me if you're caught in a similar situation, your best option is to hire an attorney if possible. Also, and this is very key, reach out to your lawmakers. The senator says more bipartisanship is much needed on this very touchy matter.
It could destroy a whole relationship. I mean, luckily, here's a guy that has,
He has a solid household.
That's very
Right.
I mean, some people would have packed up and left and said, "I just don't believe you." You could have destroyed a life.
Bingo.
Unbelievable story for them to send that to work.
Mhm.
Can you imagine if you worked at a certain place and the rumors would start to spread?
Yes.
I mean, it is potentially not only family
Definition of
disrupting,
character
but
in the
your
public eye.
character and your life.
Absolutely.
I can't imagine how frustrated that family was while they were trying to get answers.
Highly frustrated, Amy and Jay. Highly frustrated because, again, you're getting an inquiry about your finances without even confirmation if you're connected to this particular case.
Where's the proof? Wow.
A lot more dialogue is needed on this matter in Lansing, for sure.
Thanks for bringing that to light.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Kelly, thank you.
And so that report is a year old. And he started reaching out to the media in 2023. There really isn't too much else to be said on the conspiracy of what's going on in our court system, in the family court system. Is so blatant. It's so in your face. And yet nothing is being done. So somebody's pushing some major money to destroy families, to keep children away from their fathers, to enable women snatches. Not women, snatches. There's a difference in my mind. To enable snatches to use the system to just throw a dart. Oh, he's the father. I want to ruin his life. And in some cases, and what I believe in most cases, because this may be a unique case, because the man claims that he wasn't at a strip club and he didn't do this, that, and the third. And it just so happens that the paternity test cleared him of all allegations. So now he can go ahead and confidently go about his claim of never even being in the company of this woman, right? You know, but in most cases, I mean, let's just keep it real. Let's keep it 100. In most cases, the dude was at the strip club. You know, he did bang her out in the red room. You feel me? He was married. He cream pied her. Like a dummy. Because he was drunk, he was high, off whatever. And now she's saying that that's the daddy. But because she did that so many times, it is when the paternity tests show up, he's not the father. What's that's called when you mix drinks? What's that called, Pumpkin? What, Miss? Oh, what's that called when you mix drinks? You call that what? A cocktail. So in her womb, she got a baby batter cocktail from different individuals. She got a baby batter cocktail of different individuals. So you got different swimmers fighting to be the father of that egg. And it just so happens because you was in wickedness, you did what you did. It wasn't because it was another competitor from a different donor fighting at the same time. So you didn't. So in most cases, that's what's up. This guy claims that he wasn't. He don't even know the motherfucker. In my mind, that's hard to believe, and it worked out in his favor. I think it worked out in his favor, and he was able to substantiate his claim that he don't know nobody, he ain't never been there. I really beg to differ. But it can happen, you know what I'm saying? Somebody can just go on Facebook or whatever platform and pick a face and a name and be like, I'm going to choose you to fuck with. But that normally doesn't happen. That normally doesn't happen. So I hope that his claim is legitimate, but for those who get away with stuff the first, second, third time around, they gonna try it again, and eventually their sins is gonna catch up with them, and they're gonna get found out. So, homeboy, if you are dirty, I strongly suggest, since you did your crime and walked away, don't return back. Don't do it again, because the Most High is going to make sure that you get caught up the next time. That's not normal. That's the chances of that going the way it went according to the story. In most cases, the dude was there, and that's who he dealt with. But you just happened to contribute to a cocktail of baby batter. So we're getting ready to go into a next case, a next form of paternity fraud, in which women or snatches are buying positive pregnancy tests off Craigslist. Mind you, this is 10 years old, but it's assured that in some form or fashion it still goes on today. So let's get it.
Well, new at 6, another one of those stories that will make you say, what will the criminals think of next? Women buying positive pregnancy tests online, then extorting money from men.
That's right. Women are selling sticks with plus signs on the website Craigslist for as low as $25 a pop. WREG's Adam Hammond explains how it works.
I'm pregnant. It's a phrase that can change your life in a second, and women all around the country are telling men that very phrase, but the problem is it's a lie. The story's exploding online, saying women are lying, showing someone else's positive pregnancy test they bought online to trick a man into marrying her. Divorce attorney Miles Mason says that's fraud.
In my opinion, that type of evidence of a false pregnancy test to induce to marry should result in an annulment.
A different trick women are using the positive pregnancy test for is to extort money out of men by making them think they're financially responsible for a baby.
At that point, I would say take a deep breath, don't react one way or the other, and say, well, that's interesting.
Genetics experts like Steve Kahn say if you hear that news, the first thing you should do is buy a high-quality pregnancy test for that woman or bring her to a DNA testing center where they can find out for sure if she is pregnant.
That leaves out the internet. It leaves out concerns over falsified urine, substituted urine.
It may seem wrong, but Mason says it's perfectly legal.
It's the same thing as selling a used Q-tip. I mean, it may not necessarily be something somebody wants, but if somebody's willing to pay for it, there's nothing inherently illegal about selling a pregnancy test result.
Kahn disagrees and thinks they should make it illegal because people are committing crimes with the tests.
The sale of it, I think, sure, should come right off Craigslist or eBay or wherever they're being sold. I mean, they regulate other things. You can't sell child pornography, for instance.
In Memphis, I'm Adam Hammond, WREG News Channel 3.
Kahn says pregnancy tests aren't the only thing being sold online. People are also selling their urine for others to use for pregnancy tests or drug tests.
This game is absolutely ridiculous. Now, in my experience, it wasn't a false test per se with my first son. I was 17 years old. I pretty much was raised in a sheltered environment. So I was naive on the streets to a certain degree. I was dealing with a certain set at the time, but it was some things that just wasn't, I was aware of. So my experience was this with my first mother. Now, after I was given an ultimatum to either go to Job Corps or become a ward of the state. That was a threat from my wife's mother-in-law. So, not knowing any better, I decided to go to Job Corps. So now I'm in Job Corps in Detroit, and I meet my son's mother. Near the end of my stay at Job Corps, I completed the program. I got my GED. I completed the vocational part of the program, and now I'm presented with, because my son's mother was claiming that she was pregnant at that time. So instead of choosing to go into the military or taking some grants to go into higher education, I choose to go into the workforce because I'm thinking I'm about to have this baby. So now I'm in the workforce. The particular employer that I had at the time, they afforded me an apartment. Okay, so let's cut through the bull. I was in apartment maintenance, or what was called BAM, building and apartment maintenance. So I learned how to do light electrical, plumbing, heating and cooling, things of that nature. So I was a maintenance man. I trained to be a maintenance man. And then I was offered a job to be a maintenance man. And one of the perks of being a maintenance man at this particular employer was a free apartment. So then I go and take my son's mother with me. Now, in my mind at the time, oh, well, she's already pregnant, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep depositing my seed. She became really pregnant when we was at the apartment. That's when she became really pregnant. So I was, up until that point, I was deceived about her pregnancy. And then she became pregnant for real. That's the experience I have with paternity fraud. That's my experience. Well, old school, you ain't see no. I didn't. I told you I was naive. I wasn't. We wasn't at the time that when I was told that she was pregnant. I wasn't aware of any cycles when she was on and off and what have you. I didn't even know to look for it at the time. And when we finally moved in together at the apartment, again, I didn't know to look for it at the time, but I don't recall seeing anything as well. So she knew what to hide, and I didn't know what to look for. So that's my experience with paternity fraud. Men, I think we're a whole lot smarter today and up on certain things. I don't know. Based on what I see on social media and stuff, you know. We're a whole lot hip. We a whole lot hip. But, you know, it may be some of the 17-year-old me's out there that's oblivious to the games, you know, and might be caught up in that. My advice is when a lady or a snatch come to you and say that they are pregnant with your seed, look for the evidence. And then once the baby is here, get a DNA test. The evidence is a lack of menstrual pads and tampons. And if she's that smart and that hip on hiding that stuff and what have you, you know, okay, because they have to go to the doctor every so often while they're pregnant. To document and see the progress of the pregnancy over the 9-10 months. See, that was another thing that I didn't have privilege of, because during the claim of pregnancy, we were still up in Job Corps. So all I was able to get was her report from seeing the nurse or the doctor at the time that was up in Job Corps. So the claim. But for those who are not in that situation where you're not really blocked from that, you're not really blocked from the doctor visits and so forth, you know, I want to be there at the doctor visit. I want to be there at the ultrasound. When they start beatboxing, start suspecting she ain't really pregnant. Stop depositing your seed. Because it was some major life decisions made based on that deception. I was looking at getting into the military. I was looking at Eastern Michigan University. It was several things I was looking at you know, post Detroit Job Corps that I decided not to go into. I said, well, I gotta hurry up and get into the job market because I got a son on the way. That was my mindset at the time. So we about to get into this next video, what family lawyers say about paternity fraud, okay? So let's get into it.
So I probably had more experience with paternity fraud than anybody in the country, really. So I represented a guy who wanted to be the gold star client. He said, I'll do everything you want. He found out 11 years later that he wasn't the father of the child. And we went to court and the judge said, are you, when you first got asked the question, did you want to take a blood test by your lawyer? Why didn't you take a blood test? Did you tell your lawyer you wanted a blood test? I said, Judge, that's attorney-client privilege. You can't ask him that. The client said, no, I'll tell you, Judge, I didn't take a blood test because I trusted her. The judge said, case over. You should have taken a test. It's done. That was 20 years ago. Carnell Smith is his name. He founded Citizens Against Paternity Fraud, CAPF. This guy, we appealed it to the Georgia Court of Appeals, the Georgia Supreme Court, to the United States Supreme Court. The United States Supreme Court did not take it. And so then he went around the country and he got laws passed in about half the states. We call it the Who's Your Daddy statute, right? So there are statutes in many states that allow you to go back and say, I had no reason to doubt her, and now I found out. And so I've represented a lot of people that have been in that situation. We've written articles about it. The problem is it's a really difficult issue for the judge because what we're talking about is legally, it's called delegitimation, right? You're taking a child who has two legitimate parents. Either mom and dad are the official legal parents because they were married, or they weren't married, but they filed a legitimation case and they became legitimate parents. Now you're telling that child, the parents, your mom and your dad, are not your legitimate parents. They're not your legal parents. Even though dad may not be the biological parent, the judge is now going to sever the legal relationship. And there's a lot of case law that says that's almost like tearing the skin from the bone. So it's a tough case. And the laws around the country are a little bit different. Some states you have to go back to court within a few months of finding out that you're not the father. And if you find out you're the father and then you keep that you're not the father and you keep acting as the father, well, then you're stuck. It's a tough one, but it does happen. Here's my solution. And it's been offered in states like New Jersey and Pennsylvania, but no state will pass it. I think every woman, when they give birth, should sign an affidavit about who the father is right there and then, under oath. And it sounds terrible, right? Make someone sign an affidavit. But let's figure it out right there. Swear under oath that he's the father. The problem, and this is the really interesting problem, most cases of paternity fraud are in married couples. Most couples, which is mind-blowing, right? We talked about topsy-turvy stuff in divorce. So if you think about it for a second, it makes sense. So if you're dating somebody and she's pregnant, but she had sex with somebody else, she might be more willing to tell you that it was somebody else than if you're married to her, right? Because if you're married to somebody, is the wife going to say, well, I got something to tell you? Because that means she might forfeit money or alimony, or her whole marriage might go down the hill. So people that are more likely to lie about who the father is are people that are married than people that are unmarried. So it's a very interesting issue. The nice thing is you can get a $300 test. You can get a test kit at CVS or some pharmacy, a swab of saliva from you and the child, send it off, and they can exclude you as the father without even having any of the mother's saliva. So first thing is to get your facts right, then find out what the law is. And I had a judge actually make a woman reimburse my client for $1,000 a month. He paid for 55 months, and she was ordered to pay me $25,000 in fees because the judge was so mad at her for covering it up. So it's a real issue. It absolutely is out there. There are support groups, and if anyone wants to, CAPF, Citizens Against Paternity Fraud, is a website that this gold star client of mine, Carnell Smith, when he couldn't win at the trial level, the appellate level, the Supreme Court level, he went across the country and got statutes and laws passed. Then he created this support group, and it was that's one of the cases and one of the clients that I'll certainly remember. When I told you, you see people down the road and they're doing good, he's a good one. He's one of those. We shared some hard moments. You know, he and his new wife waited for a while to have a new child because he was still paying child support to this other woman, and they couldn't really afford a new child. And now he realizes he waited 11 years to have a child because he was still paying child support for a child that wasn't his. It was a tough one. But there's stories like that we hear over and over and over.
We had a case in my office, I didn't do it, my associate did it, where the husband was not or so he claimed, was not the biological father of little Joey, and the wife's boyfriend was the actual biological father, and they were getting a divorce, and he was trying to disestablish parentage based upon that fraud, theoretically, and had also wanted to bring a civil cause of action against the wife for fraud. And we ended up getting out of the case. I didn't like the guy. I thought that punishing the child because, you know, a kid was 10 years old and this was his only dad. And I felt it kind of unconscionable to punish a child by severing the relationship because of something that mom might have done. So we ended up getting out of that case.
I'm confused sometimes at what people call paternity fraud. Paternity, especially if you're talking about the father-child relationship, you know, there's this real reality that all men adopt, that, you know, the baby winds up being there. We've been gone for a while, and we have to develop the idea, the identity, and foster our understanding of being a parent. I'm not bothered by non-biological fathers choosing fatherhood. I have 3 stepsons. I call them my sons. That doesn't mean I don't think their dad's not their dad. It means that I think I parented them, and I'm pretty sure I did. And I have 1 son, and I am his dad, and that it's pretty undeniable from his flat feet to his potato head. You know, we're a pair. And so, you know, I'm not bothered by people who want to seriously commit to a relationship with a child. I am bothered when they try to usurp a relationship that someone has with their own children. And there are very important rights that have to be acknowledged in that. But, you know, the acknowledgement of parentage, if you read the forms, is acknowledging parentage. It's not necessarily acknowledging the biological facticity. The most important historical presumption of parentage is to be the spouse of the mother. And in the history of parentage actions, it used to be that the courts would do almost anything not to bastardize a child, because disconnecting that parent relationship between the spouse of the mother and the child had dramatic lifelong status ramifications. Those are gone now. But in that history is the history of people who may or may not have been the biological progenitor of a child choosing to parent and choosing to carry on a family name with someone who may not have your same physical characteristics, may have, you know, the red hair.
I've had a number of cases, Regan, where, you know, people are married, a spouse gets pregnant, everybody thinking that the other spouse is the parent, father, for example, and come to find out later that they're not. So, you know, I've had a number of those situations come up. So, you know, in the sense that that's paternity fraud, yes, but we generally, you know, I'll get a client to say to me, this doesn't feel right. Like either we weren't intimate during this period of time when, you know, supposedly we got pregnant, or this kid looks nothing like me, or whatever it may be, that then has you going to dig.
I've had a lot of experience with paternity fraud. It happens much more often than I could have ever possibly imagined, because many of the fathers who end up raising a child that they later find out is not their own ends up with a very strong bond, and that father doesn't want to extinguish that relationship. Now, usually it's in the form that we would all expect to learn about, which is at the time of separation or divorce, does the mother then say, well, you don't get parental rights anyway because you're not the father? Now, then it becomes a very interesting legal problem. And it depends on, the whole analysis depends on what does the father want to do from that point. But surprisingly, many of them say, I don't care, I still want parenting time. I'm the legal father. And under state law, a lot of times they are, because they're on the birth certificate. But other times, most of the time when you hear paternity fraud, it's because a father is being forced to pay child support for a child that is not theirs. And they had no idea, nor had reason to know at the time of the child's birth that he was not the father. And that's when it gets really sticky and difficult and painful, because the legal system does not want to bastardize a child, meaning they don't want to take a child that has two parents and then make them legally only have one, right? And that goes against everything that was set up in law long before DNA testing came about. So getting through that process is choppy and difficult, and sometimes impossible, depending on the state law, depending on whether the father was listed on the birth certificate, how long has he been supporting the child, as well as did the father, if there wasn't an intact marriage at the time, signed what in Tennessee we call the voluntary acknowledgement of paternity form, which waives all those rights. And you would think that people would hesitate signing that document without seeing a lawyer. But I don't know that I've ever talked to anybody that took it to a lawyer. They just signed it. Yeah, that's fine. All right. And that form may be conclusive depending on the facts and circumstances in the state law. So,
man, get off your emotions. Make an executive decision. And I'm a father as well. But if you want to protect your long-term financial well-being, you need to get off your emotional shit, period. No, we don't want to believe who we effing with is a snatch. We don't want to know that. We don't want to believe that. But for your own financial health, you need to verify some shit. And then some of us back off because we don't want to offend nobody. I'm here to tell you, F their feelings. Because when they ready to go about their business and the hit the fans, they ain't thinking about your feelings. They ain't regarding your feelings. They ain't thinking about, oh, let me play fair. Dude, it's lions and tigers up in this bitch. For real. You need to be on your business from day one. F how somebody feels, F how somebody is going, how you believe somebody's going to be offended. You need to protect you and your financial health. Test. Test to see if this child is yours. If she gets offended off of that, blood, I'm here to tell you, she was already having a child batter cocktail already. You was already contributing to the cocktail already. Stop being so damn emotional. Stand on your business. If it's not yours, at the end of the day, she was the one that hated the child. She hates the child from the beginning, regardless, because she allowed another individual to contribute to the baby batter, cocktail. That's all I want to get into. That had a couple more minutes in going into that, because it really does hit pretty hard because of my experience and experiences with, being deceived about a pregnancy that wasn't legitimate at the time till it became legitimate. And the decisions I had to make based off the information that I had at the time, the inexperience and the information I had at the time, and knowing that it's thousands of men who have been deceived and caught up in the web. Start standing on business, man. Stop worrying about what these snatchers gonna say and things of that nature. Stop worrying about that. You worrying about destroying a relationship because you want a test done to protect you. She ain't gonna protect you when she ready to go on the Johnson carousel again, or maybe she ain't never stopped. She's not thinking about your protection, blood. You need to start thinking about yourself, because they always thinking about themselves. Mrs. O got something to say to all of us, so let's get into that. And let's check out what Mrs. O got to say. Let's go.
Shalom, family. This is Mrs. O. Thank you for joining our channel. If you enjoy our content, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel. If you would like to support our channel, you can do so by scanning the QR codes to the Cash App or the PayPal in the lower left corner. We would greatly appreciate it. Enjoy the show.
So I had the mic on mute, but what if it didn't come through? This is what I was saying. I was saying, look, you need to protect yourself. Men, you need to protect yourself. Regardless on stop going into wondering if you're going to offend the woman you with. At the end of the day, you need to protect yourself because they're not going to look out for you. They're not. They're going to, when the lions and tigers part of the relationship go into play, that's when when the relationship is ending, they're not looking out for you. Get that paternity test done. When she says it's yours and what have you, like, okay. And then when that baby come out, get that paternity test done. Protect yourself, fella. Protect yourself. Stop worrying about how she feels. If she really with you, she ain't gonna mind. She know you doing what you need to do to protect yourself. Because guaranteed, in almost every situation, she's doing what she needs to do to protect herself. Guaranteed. So I don't know if what I was talking about before the intermission came through because the mic, I see that the mic was on mute, but that's what I was talking about. Okay. So next, we're going to get into the hot video. Without any further ado, let's get it, baby.
We give it for the Lord. It's something bad in the mist, Got a sip from the drink in the mix, in my bag. Pull a script, let it go on the track. That's a hit, Pull a script from the hip, Claim the belt, that's a hit, Pull a script from the hip, Claim the belt, that's a hit, If you ain't standing for the truth, then you don't understand this. Yeah. Big ol' family, hit for corners in Miami, never pay me. We ain't charging another foreigners. Yeah. We giving truth for the Lord. I'm a patient saint when I be in Atlanta. Temptation, I can pray to God and never stop me. Christian churches, Holy Ghost is out to catching bodies. Yeah. We giving truth for the Lord. Giving that when I'm down for. Compliments to relax ya. Split tongue and that laughter. Never back to a pastor. Backstabbing and mask up. Disguise with a back rub. Cool, we got truth. It's something bad in the mist. Got a sip from the drink in the mix, in my bag. Pull a script, let it go on the track. That's a hit, Pull a script from the hip, Claim the belt, that's a hit, Pull a script from the hip, Claim the belt, that's a hit. Told me go get him, I got him, I came from the left of the party to giving the party the light. Stuck in the dark as the fight, everyone wanna be right, not just, they not right, just think I might just show them just, let me be the judge, show them how to love, right dust, when no mic touch, give it my touch, that's a plus, 144,000 added up, that's a rush, that's a blitz, take your quarterback, we coming with the central, it's something bad, in the mist, got a sip from the drink, in the mix, in my bag, pull a script, let it go on the track, that's a hit, pull a script from the hip, claim the belt, that's a hit, pull a script from the hip, claim the belt, that's a hit. Told me go get thinking in my gut, I came from the left of the party to giving the party the light. Stuck in the dark as a fight. Everyone wanna be right, not just. They're not right, just think I might just show them just. Let me be the judge, show them how to love right.
Well, I tell you, if it can go wrong, it will. We got all kinds of shenanigans going on in the studio. I swear, today is not a great day as far as the equipment cooperating with what we trying to do over here at Surreal Sundays. Okay, so I hope y'all enjoyed that hot video. I most definitely did. And what we have next is Snatch Shenanigans. Snatch Shenanigans. So let's get right into it. We got two women creating havoc on the freeways, the expressways, the highways of Seattle. Let's get it.
Meanwhile, two women are accused of assaulting a man after a car crash. Those charges have now been filed. Take a look at dash cam video of the incident that troopers say happened on July 30th near the SeaTac Airport entrance on State Route 518. Now, according to court docs, Shaylin Duell was driving recklessly, cut off the victim, and then hit his car. She and a passenger, Shavera Carey, then got out of their car and accused the victim of causing the accident. Now, one of them assaulted the man, while the other person is accused of punching his wife in the face. The victim had a gun, which fell during the assault, and according to court documents, Duell and Carey recovered that gun from a ditch before they drove off. But get this, investigators say they even hit the victim with their car as they drove off. Both are now charged with assault and unlawful possession of a firearm. Their arraignment is set for early next week.
So in Seattle, we had two women creating a accident and what have you. We got some more footage on that particular incident. Let's see what we got. Here we go. So, all right, we're gonna cue it on up.
Court documents reveal
and get into it. Let's go.
Court documents reveal Duell is somehow involved with a Vietnam vet. Now, while their relationship is unclear, documents reveal he paid for that vehicle that was involved in the initial accident and has given her hundreds of thousands of dollars. Tonight, neighbors telling me she's up to no good.
My interactions with her have not been pleasant.
This woman says she's familiar with Shaylin Duell's violent behavior. She asked Fox 13 to hide her identity because she's worried about possible retaliation.
She came from my car, slashed my tires, starting to beat me up. I did grab something to defend myself.
It all happened in this South Seattle neighborhood off 36th Avenue South just days before Duell was caught on camera. In this video, you can see her assaulting a 72-year-old man after court documents say she caused an accident while he and his wife were on their way to SeaTac Airport. Investigators say that dash cam video from the victim led to Duell's arrest, along with her sister, Weldon Shavera Carey.
It's just awful. Like, who does that? And first of all, you cause an accident and then you want to beat somebody else up because, yeah, she doesn't take accountability at all for what she does.
Neighbors on and off camera told Fox 13 they're not surprised by Duell's actions.
She's just wild, man.
Court documents reveal the blue Range Rover involved in the July 30th collision doesn't belong to Duell. Investigators tracked down a Vietnam vet who admitted to buying the car and allowing her to drive it.
From jump, I knew that was like, I thought it was like a sugar daddy situation. I noticed her interactions with that old man and didn't seem like it was like a legitimate friend of hers.
Court documents state the vet also paid for this townhouse where Duell was living, admitting to investigators he had given her over $250,000. Neighbors told me they met that elderly man multiple times and suspected something was wrong.
Definitely so. I feel like she was taking advantage of him.
And we do know that vet is cooperating with investigators. As for the road rage and assault case, both Duell and her sister Carey remain locked up facing assault and gun possession charges. Their bail set at least $200,000. They will face a judge tomorrow. In the newsroom, Dave Detling, Fox 13 News.
It was a routine traffic stop.
So, hey, just because you see a snatch pull up in a Range or a Lambo or Audi or Volvo, hey, she could have a sugar daddy pumping, backing that up. You know, do your thing. Do your thing, chicken wing. Do your thing. You know. But these snatchers is out here on the road causing havoc. Creating all kinds of shenanigans going on. We got another one going on in Seattle. Now this one, the one we showed. Let me see if I can.
Until they check the trunk.
It won't let me reverse right now. But Seattle is having a problem with this going on. So we about to get into we about to get into the third. Now the first two was on the same women. The first two was on the incident, what was going on the freeway, on expressway, and what have you. And then the backstory on how they even got the Range Rover. So it was a sugar daddy involved, U.S. vet, doing whatever he feel like he need to do to get whatever he need to get. And these women is benefiting off of that, be that here or there. They out here on the streets creating havoc, and they have violent tendencies and have a violent past in addition to that. So we got another situation going on in Seattle with some snatches. Check the similarities that's going on. Let's get it.
Both girls dragged me out of my truck and started beating me.
They were just punching on her and holding her down on the asphalt.
A broad daylight beating for a pointless reason. It happened Saturday afternoon in West Seattle. I spoke to the victim over the phone. She doesn't want to use her name because she's terrified. She was in town from Yakima to visit her father, who's dealing with a brain injury after having 3 tumors removed. The victim tells me this was all because she accidentally cut off the suspects at the intersection.
They were right on top of me, and I was really scared I was going to get run over by my own vehicle.
The video shows the victim's car roll down the street where it crashed into another car. Then the suspects speed off. But witnesses say they did not go far. Someone on scene sent me this video of the Range Rover parked by Alki. You can see it is missing the front license plate and still has a piece of paper in the windshield, like the car in the assault video.
It's disheartening that Seattle police didn't show up in a timely manner. We could have got those girls. They were a mile away on the beach partying.
You responded faster than they did, and that was on Saturday. It's now Monday. I'm shocked.
Wendy Carrington is one of the Good Samaritans who tried to stop the assault. These look like the folks?
Oh yeah, they had the parking ticket on the front of their Land Rover.
I have pictures of both suspects. That Carrington confirmed. Pictures that the 22-year-old victim herself took after the assault. But Seattle police will not say if these are the suspects or not. They tell me they're still investigating, so we can't show them. The victim tells me Seattle police's response is making the entire incident that much more difficult to deal with.
Nobody's contacting me. Nobody's reaching out. Nobody is wanting to find these girls except for me.
And it's sad that this is the state of our city, that I have to worry, you have to worry, we all have to worry that we could be victimized, and then, the criminals are emboldened. They can just run around knowing there's no accountability for their actions.
That 22-year-old victim tells me she was in the hospital for hours, then had to drive all the way back to Yakima in her damaged truck. by herself. She says it was traumatic after this incident. Seattle police say they are investigating and are asking anyone with information to contact them. But I spoke to Carrington, that Good Samaritan from the story today, who told me she waited on hold when she tried to get in touch with investigators and then was hung up on. Reporting here in Seattle, I'm AJ Janavel, Fox 13 News.
It's a chart top.
So it is some places that's a little worse than Detroit. They got some shit going on. That's interesting. Hey, look. Now I examined both videos. They are the ladies are different. Those are two different Range Rovers. Okay. I had slowed down on the second one versus the first one. The first one looks like a later model. The second one, of course, is an older model. They have different backings, and then the emblems that's on the back have different displacements. So those are two different situations going on, but it indicates something else. That there's an epidemic for Range Roving driving snatches, creating shenanigans in the streets of Seattle. Now say that shit real fast. Range Rover snatches creating shenanigans in the streets of Seattle. See, I fucked up. See, so I know you gonna fuck up. This shit is bananas. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So when the snatch roll up on you in a Range Rover, you know what I'm saying, you better have a side eye. You better get your defensive skills on. Because it might be some bullshit coming up, seconds later. You know what I'm saying? Hey, check this out. We at this last segment of the show, and it's my favorite. You know what it is. Whiskey of the week, baby. And this week's whiskey of the week is Ironfish. You know, the best whiskey's always got something to do with a damn animal. Caribou. You know what I'm saying? That was one of my favorites. This week is Ironfish. Shit, I forgot the other one. Shit, lion, tiger. I don't give a fuck what, bear. It's always got an animal in the goddamn name. Hey, check this out. Ironfish. That's not it. My particular version of Ironfish is, here we go. The bourbon whiskey finished in maple syrup barrels. Oh man, the flavor is sweet. Got a nice rich, what I call is a barrel flavor, Now this one is at 55.5%. That's 111 proof, 112 proof. This one you gonna need to follow up to chase with some water. But it's delicious. It is delicious. You're just gonna have to chase it with a little bit of water. Ironfish, bourbon whiskey, finished in maple syrup barrel, the barrel strength. Now I done seen this in Myers and what have you, and it's not barrel strength. Don't get that one. Go to your specialty liquor store and get the barrel strength. Don't cheat yourself. Treat yourself. You understand? That's what's up. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you coming to Surreal Sundays. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you decided to rock with us tonight. And I appreciate that. Like, share, and subscribe if you like the content that's coming out. Donate to the Cash App, to the PayPal. Let me put that up for you in case you missed it. There it is. The Cash App and the PayPal. If you have some content that you would like for us to go over, you can email that at mrsshow@gmail.com. Okay? Do that thing. So we can go over that, you know what I'm saying? You want to know how we feel about that thing? We can do that for you. You know, if you like the content that's coming out, you know, you want to support the show, you got two options. You can do it at the Cash App or you can do it at the PayPal. Just scan them QR codes that you see on the screen. Once again, you can be anywhere else in the world, but you decided to rock with us tonight, and we appreciate that. We love you for that. I hope the information that came out was able, you gentlemen, it was able to put you up on a little game and what have you. But whenever you face anybody claiming that you the father of anything, you need to get your lawyer team up. Get that paternity test. Get that paternity test. If you married and you got questions, get that paternity test. Get the paperwork. Or be on the hook. It's your decision. All that and what we went over, I don't have nothing else to say about anything else until we revisit this subject again. Until then, everybody be blessed. I love you all. This is Old School Exit 9. This is Surreal Sundays on the Mrs. O Show. And good night.
Shades. Let's get into it. Where do I begin? Being in the skin, feeling like tabernacles. It could get intense, treated like a sin. It could get me lynched, even as a prince. It could get me pinched, but we don't even flinch. Nah, not even an inch. Cause God up in the heavens and a nigga look like him. But they took his image and they put it through the rinse. Made it look like them. Made it look like everything I grew up knowing was incorrect. They never said that I was ugly, but it's indirect. I used to get offended looking at my different flesh, but I bask in the sun, now it's limitless. For real, it took a while to get through to me too. Made from the same earth, we get nutrients through. Formed by the fingers of God, as mud in his cuticles too. And every shade is a beautiful view. Shades, here's something you need to know. The skin you in is gold, watch it glow. You a seed in the soil, you need to grow. It look just like me, it gets darker, deeper you go. Deeper that you go, deeper that you go. You don't even know. You a seed in the soil, you need to grow. It look just like you, it gets darker, deeper you go. Shades, brilliant tone, radiant surface. Encased in worth and glazed in perfect. The facts is deeper than the epidermis, and every layer still confirms a purpose. Shades. The sun in love with the way that you be. Your insecurities be funding these industries. Energy given to altering your imagery, it still be killing me. Never take the word of your enemies over we. Embracing the way you was made, the hell is a flaw. Went from being ashamed to being in awe. All the standards have changed, no longer belong. I wish they make it a law to see what we saw. You for an unskin, it's not a praise. Mixed is not a phrase. Don't forget you a light to the world, a lot of rays. How can you see this wave of truth and be not amazed? Self-love is not a phase. Shade is something you need to know. The skin you in is gold, watch it glow. You a seed in the soil, you need to grow. It look just like me, it gets darker, deeper you go. Deeper that you go, deeper that you go. You don't even know. You a seed in the soil, you need to grow. It look look just like you. It gets darker, deeper you go. Shades. Here's something you need to know. The skin you in is gold, watch it glow. You a seed in the soil, you need to grow. It look just like me, it gets darker, deeper you go. Deeper that you go, deeper that you go. You don't even know. You a seed in the soil, you need to grow. It look just like you.